Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll have a look at the latest from the GFS, the GM, the ECMWF, the ECMWF and GFS Ensembles, and we'll finally have a look at the 5-day forecast from the UKMO shorter range model as well. Now it is looking like we will be seeing real autumn arriving over the next week. It does look like we're going to see the jet stream return with its full power, and we could even be seeing a named storm coming up next week with a lot of unsettled weather around. We have looked at blocking over the last few days. That blocking is still around, and it's forcing the jet stream a bit further southwards, and at this stage it's going to be introducing quite cool northwesterly polar maritime air masses, so it's going to be pretty chilly, windy, and a lot of rain is going to be around as well. So do remember, if you enjoyed my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and do remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link is in the description. Many of you have pointed out in the comments over the last sort of couple of videos that the sound quality has been a little bit off, and have sort of said, I sound a bit ill as well, and that's true. Yes, I have been a little bit ill over the last few days. It is non-COVID, so that's one good thing, but I'm just recovering a little bit from a cold, so I should be trying to recover that over the next few days, and it should be back to normal very, very soon. So do bear with me if the sound is a little bit off today and over the next few days. I'll try and get it back to normal by the weekend. So if we do run through the latest GFS, you can see at the moment we do have high pressure just in the far south and the southwest, and it's still reasonably pleasant across the south of the country. However, in the north, you can see westerly winds are starting to take control, lower pressure starting to sink down from Iceland, and we're going to be seeing rain and strong winds. We've seen some pretty decent gusts in the north as well so far today, and those will continue as we see low pressure pushing in. We do see that low pressure sort of skirt by Scotland, bringing in weather fronts, but getting really squashed away as they move southwards, of course, heading into high pressure. The weather fronts lose all of their juice. However, by the weekend, we see low pressure gathering strength out in the Atlantic, pushing through a cold front, quite an active cold front, and we could be seeing a squall line associated with that. You can see quite a clean break from around 5 to 10 degrees at 850 HPA down to around 0 or a couple of degrees above freezing at 850 HPA. So quite a clean cold front break there, which is symbolic of an active cold front, and we could be seeing a squall line along with that, and we'll have to keep an eye on that towards Sunday and early next week. Low pressure does look in control with a polar maritime air mass, not particularly cold, but still getting below freezing at 850 HPA, so pretty chilly, and surface temperatures will probably be down into the mid to low teens for many. Beyond that, we maintain westerly winds, and we'll have some warmer sectors at times, of course. So we could see temperatures respond to around high teens, maybe 20 degrees in a few spots, especially in the southeast. However, it's always going to be accompanied by quite strong westerly winds, probably quite a few showers, some cloud, and at times more persistent rain. You can see towards the first few days of October, we could be getting a really quite vigorous area of low pressure, and that could be the first named storm of the 2021-22 season. Could be Storm Arwen there. Not guaranteed, because it could change across runs, but we are seeing this consistently crop up now within model runs, that we could be seeing quite a vigorous area of low pressure in around a week to 10 days time. Slightly changes between model runs, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. But it is looking like we could be seeing at least something quite vigorous, if not a named storm. Beyond that, we do continually see low pressure spin up. We could even, in the warmer sector, bring up some very quite hot air all the way from Spain and North Africa towards the end of the run. Quite uncertain at this stage. But you can see it is very possible, but it's always going to be associated with low pressure. And that cold front will sweep through away from that warmer air. And we just maintain this westerly flow, feeling pretty chilly and unsettled. So we do have a look at what the GM is showing, see how that does compare. You can see at the moment high pressure in the south, low pressure further northwards, and weather fronts trying to push in. And by sort of Sunday, Monday, we see that clean break as the low pressure moves through, and we go into the cooler northwesterly polar maritime air mass. You can see that low pressure just sticks around all the way until 1st of October, just really maintains its strength, and then we see that really vigorous low pressure system sort of crop up around the 2nd or 3rd of October, very similar to the GFS. It is stalling a little bit as it tries to press eastwards, so we do have that blocking over Scandinavia that we have looked at over the last few days, but still it will likely move through at some point, if not through Scotland, and it could even go through central England as well, depending on exactly how powerful the jet stream really does get. And that'll be something we have to look at when it gets into the shorter term. sort of time frames. So we'll keep an eye on what happens with that. But it is looking like the jet stream really is going to be active with this big amplification. You can see it here coming heading dead south from Greenland, and then whipping up this low pressure system, then heading straight up northwards around Scandinavia. So a lot of amplification due to some of the blocking we're seeing, and some of those ex-hurricanes and tropical systems giving warm air advection up into the Arctic, which allows the blocking to build. And that's why we're seeing this big amplification and potentially very, very stormy weather into the start of October. Now, if we see how the ECMWF does compare, you can see it's very similar over the coming days. Then low pressure moves through that quite clean break. However, it does sort of stall out in the Atlantic. We do see high pressure briefly build into the far southeast. But however, in the longer term towards day 10, you can see blocking towards Greenland, shifting the jet stream southwards, and that means the centre of the lows, instead of being up towards Iceland, which is typical for this time of year, they're a few hundred miles further southwards, heading in towards northern Scotland, and that's going to mean for pretty much all of England, Wales, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, whole of the British Isles is going to be under low pressure influence, quite deep low pressure influence, with heavy rain around at times. Will of course be some very heavy showers behind the weather fronts, a lot of cloud and very strong winds as well, especially on this southern flank where you see those winds are moving together. If we do have a look at the United Kingdom, you can see very close isobars, and you can see these little squiggles in the isobars are symbolic of instability, and that is where we see weather fronts moving through. So could be some very significant conditions coming around 2nd, 3rd of October, that weekend. So in about 7, 8, 9, 10 days' time, we could be seeing some very, very stormy weather, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that. So all three main models are showing something relatively similar, with a big low pressure system spinning up. Now, if we do have a look at the ECMWF Ensembles, and this will give us a really good outlook on all of the anomalies in terms of pressure over the coming 10 to 14 days. So you can see at the moment we've got low pressure out in the Atlantic, high pressure to the east and the southeast, and it's been in eastern parts we're holding on to relatively this weekend, so still in the far southeast, we're still holding on to that warm temperatures, but you can see by Sunday, low pressure is moving in, and that is when we're going to see that clean break to cooler and more unsettled conditions. If we head to day 7, so in 7 days' time, you can see the massive northern blocking we have to the north on most of the ensembles, including the crop control and operational in the largest selection ensembles, with the red coloration around it, which is symbolic of a Scandinavian high. And that's got low pressure stretched across the country, shifted further southwards than we would normally see at this time of year, when these centres of the lows tend to be more up towards Iceland. Typically Iceland low, Azores high in between jet stream, but because we've got the amplification, we're seeing these lows dip further southwards, and it's bringing down settled weather even towards the south of England, even into parts of Europe as well. Really quite stormy weather potentially. And we're seeing that on all of these sort of main 3 ensemble runs, or these ensemble clusters, at least slightly different orientations, and that will all change the slight air mass. So whether it's very cold polar maritime air mass, or whether we do see a bit of a warmer sector mix in, so that sort of stuff towards the surface we'll have to keep an eye on over the next 7 days, and we'll clear that up nearer the time when this sort of evolves. But it is all pretty much very similar in terms of pressure pattern. Dancy 2, though, have got much more low pressure towards Scandinavia, and all that blocking is concentrated towards Greenland, and this would be a very cold run, actually, with northerly winds coming down, and we could even be seeing some winteriness with that. But the risk of that proper northerly wind has quite significantly diminished over the last few days, but it is an interesting thing to be still seeing in some of the ensembles as we head towards winter. Could be a teaser there, as if we saw this in something like December, January, February, it would be bitterly cold and very snowy as well, which I know a lot of people would enjoy. If we do move through to day 10, about 3rd of October, you can see still massive amounts of northern blocking and low pressure centred over sort of the UK. Of course, shifted southwards, so it all depends on really how amplified the jet stream does get and how slow moving these sort of weather patterns are. But as you can see here, it's very, very similar across all 3 of these sort of clusters, with a lot of low pressure around the UK and a lot of northern blocking as well. If we go all the way at the end of the run to 360 hours, you can see still a lot of high pressure around, a lot of blocking around. You can see on 20 of the ensemble members, our blocking is a bit further southwards, which would be indicative of a jet stream shifting a bit further northwards in the UK and dipping southwards a little bit further eastwards or westwards, of course. And this would be more typical of what we would see this year with the jet stream around Iceland instead of towards the UK. But it is a bit of a muddle picture. There's no massive signal. There's no really dark reds on there. So there could be a lot of embedded low pressure within this, and it could be a very mixed pattern. So can't look into that too much. You can see another 17 have got more high pressure ridging over to the UK. A very big split in the jet stream because we've got low pressure lobe out in the Atlantic, and then again high pressure sort of shifting up from the south. So very confused pattern there. We'll have to keep an eye on what happens with that. And once again, another 14 at the end with a lot of high pressure around. Not only have northern Canadian blocking in towards Greenland, we also have a big Scandinavian block as well. Unprecedented amount of blocking seeing this, and I'd love to sort of package up the blocking we're seeing now and put it back out into the models in around 2 months' time, when there is the real possibility of actually seeing these giving very cold conditions. But anyway, if we do finally have a look at the GFS ensembles for the longer term outlook, you can see generally over the next 3, 4, 5 days, we're still going to be seeing relatively decent upper air temperatures in London. However, you can see that very clean break as that cold front sweeps through, and we're going to be seeing some heavier rain with that as well. Nothing too massive, as it does look like it will diminish in strength as it heads eastwards, but still some rain, and looks over the foreseeable future. A lot of up and down in the temperature spikes, but a lot of precipitation as well, and real variable temperatures beyond sort of day 10, so we can't really look too much into that as it is very uncertain at this stage. If we do have a look at what's happening in Glasgow to give us an idea of what's happening in the north, you can see temperatures are above average over the next sort of 4 or 5 days, and then we see that massive break in temperatures, a good sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 degree drop. And then we see a massive rainfall spikes accompanying it, and temperatures generally around or below average for the foreseeable future, with a lot of precipitation spikes as well. So looking very, very unsettled and autumnal. If we finally do have a look at the UKMO run, just having a look at the next 5 days, you can see still a lot of rain out in the north. We've seen that today. In the west, still some patchy showers moving through tomorrow. However, as we're towards weekend, maybe some heavier rain pushing in, but finally by Sunday we're seeing that very, very active cold front push through, diminishing as it spreads eastwards. Probably still packs a punch with the squall line in there, and then we go into a polar maritime air mass with a lot of heavy showers potentially becoming quite organised at times. Very, very autumnal. If we do have a look at the max temperatures, you can see maybe 21, 22 degrees we saw this afternoon, so pretty decent indeed. By Friday, we could be seeing temperatures tomorrow afternoon around 22 degrees once again, but much cooler in Scotland, where we do have the cooler and unsettled sort of weather pushing in only 10 degrees in a few spots. By Saturday afternoon, we could be seeing temperatures again, maybe 21, 22 degrees in the east. Pretty decent, quite widespread actually, as we do have the warmer sector taking control. However, as we head through to Sunday afternoon, you can see that really stark dividing line between the cold front and the warm front and the warmer sector, with that cold front sweeping through. It doesn't look like it's updating, unfortunately. Let me just refresh it. But you can see that cold front sweeping through. Temperatures, a good 5 degree drop potentially in that cold front. Really quite exceptional. And you can see in Ireland by 9 a.m. only 10 degrees, whereas in eastern areas 18, 19 degrees. And by sort of Monday afternoon, widely temperatures are a good few degrees down, and even by night it could be dropping to mid or even low single digits in a few spots. So turning very autumnal by the start of next week. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.